Good morning.
Good morning.
You may have noticed I'm not Reverend Dee.
Can't tell the difference.
Yeah, it's like Gloria and Barley. Yeah, we have lots of twins. Reverend Dee has personal business that he is attending to. And as some of you may be aware, some of that personal business has sloshed over onto our community. And I want you to know that we have taken all the precautions that we can to ensure the safety of this community, and have followed both the advice of legal counsel and the police. So we are doing everything we can to take care of everyone, and so please continue knowing highest good for Reverend Dee through this process and for us. This is Mother's Day. Yeah. Our celebration of the divine feminine, as we're going to call it today, which is a lot longer than Mother's Day. I wanted to start with a couple of stories. There were two mothers who were talking, and they both had teenage sons. And as many teenage sons, these kids did not like to get out of bed anymore. And so one mother looks at the other mother and says, well, how do you get your son out of bed in the morning? I am having a terrible time. She said, I just put the cat in the bed with me. And she said, and that works? He said, yeah, the dog's already there. Later, these two sons are talking and they look at one another, and he says, you know, I think my mom's getting really serious about cleaning my room. And his friend looked at him and said, well, why do you say that? He said, she's learning to drive a bulldozer.
Like talking with other people in greater Cincinnati, I think the way it seems like it. But anyway, yeah.
I really like the bulldozer one because I think I have graduated from needing a bulldozer to move stuff to maybe I just need a front loader now. But the house is coming together, which is very good. And it's really nice being down the street from my daughter and my two youngest grandkids. We had another couple over and were playing games Friday night, and the doorbell rang. And it was my 10-year-old granddaughter, Natalie, who was accused at 6 weeks of being a drama queen, and she has not changed. And she comes in with her friend Annie, and she says, Bill answered the door, she said, I need to talk to B-Mom, I need to talk to B-Mom. And she comes in and she says, we were riding our bicycles down the street and Annie's phone fell on the floor. So I put the battery in and put the cover back on it and gave it to him. But I really think that was just Natalie wanting to show Annie that her grandma really did live down the street. You know, Mother's Day is a day that we look at that divine essence that many attribute to mothers, and to the divine feminine, the love, the unconditional love, the joy, the peace, the nurturing and creativity that are elements that sometimes show up more in the feminine than the masculine. Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones wrote an article in, I think it's the Huffington Press, and it's called The Metaphysics of Mother's Day. And he said that women are more powerful than men. And I could leave that statement there, but he does go on to say more. And the reason he says that is because the greatest power on earth is unconditional love. And in some ways, it is easier for those of us who are more in touch with our feminine side, whether we're male or female, to get in touch with that inner love and that inner ability to love unconditionally. He said he's not saying that women are stronger or smarter or more intelligent or more important. He says that they're more powerful because they are in touch with that inner unconditional love and that ability to love and that ability to love others that come into their life. This is not to say that this is only true of women. It is true of anyone who is willing to get in touch with that divine feminine aspect. We sometimes talk about Mother, Father, God. And the way my minister, when I started these teachings, said Mother, Father, Father, God, it was like it was one word. And she said it in such passion that you knew to her it was one element. It was one experience, one energy. And the divine feminine and the divine masculine and God are all the same. They're just different faces of how we look at the love and how we feel the love and how we express the love. So today being the divine feminine celebration, we are looking at what is love and how do we express it and how do we feel it and how do we see it in our teachings. As we said when we were stating our purpose, mission, it's our vision, our mission. Our mission is to teach and embody spiritual principles. And one of those principles is love. One of those principles, one of our tenets, is the ability to love, the ability to express that love and to feel that love and to share that love. And the biggest thing we face in humanity is all the opportunities we have that show us it's not safe to love. Or all the actions that people or countries take that are not loving acts that we, at least as we define them in our physical and mental experience. We like to talk about not judging, but I think it's somehow coded in our DNA that we judge. And we look at things and judge them as good and bad. And one of the things that sometimes we have to remember is that there are things that happen in this world that we judge as bad that we cannot explain. The kidnapping of the young women in Nigeria. That, as a woman, as a human being, it hurts every cell of my being. I judge it as bad. And the human element, it is bad. I have to know in some way that God is there. That God is there with those young women. God is there with their families. And God is even with the people who took them. But God is there. God is there in every situation, in every event in our lives. Many of us, today we all celebrate our mother that gave birth to us, or our mother that raised us, or the aunt that gave us teaching that allowed us to become the person that we were, or the father who nurtured us and loved us, and the uncles and the cousins, and maybe even the storekeeper who, when we stole a piece of candy, chewed us out up one side and down the other, to the point that we never did it again. People nurture us in all kinds of ways. They don't have to be blood related to us. They don't even have to be our neighbors, but people nurture us in so many ways. And we have the ability to love one another no matter what is going on. Paul says, from this teaching, we are not to suppose that we are to love that in each other which does not savor of right. We are to love the right alone. We are not And what Holmes is saying is we're not just to love the right, we're to love all. We are to look for God in each other and love this God forgetting all else. But would this compel us to accept from people that which is not good? Of course not. It is not necessary for one to make a doormat of themselves to prove God is love. For this would be like suffering for righteousness' sake, which is always a mistake. We are to love one another. We are to love the essence of every being on this planet. And this does not mean we are to love every action they take. This does not mean that because I love someone from a spiritual essence or even from a spiritual place, this does not mean I choose to be in their company. Marianne Williamson says in a CD or an 8-track tape that I have. It may have not been quite that bad. Maybe it was a cassette. But it was some of her teachings on the Course in Miracles. And she says, just because you've forgiven somebody does not mean you have to have dinner with them. There are people in our lives that we forgive, and we choose not to be in their presence. Some of us have had some, shall we say, less than perfect relationships, and we come to the place where we forgive that person. But that does not mean we have to invite them back into every part of our lives. I know when I did a lot of work around forgiving my kid's dad. And I know at some point he did some similar work. Because it became very clear when he came to me one day and asked for my forgiveness. And told me how sorry he was for some of the things he had done. And I knew at that point I had done my work. But I also know in order to be able to do that, he did his too. And we had really worked at having a relationship that allowed us to raise our daughters the best we could. But that did not mean, because we could be cordial with each other and even visit in each other's homes in family situations, that did not mean that we had, that we went back to that intimate relationship or even talking to each other on something other than around the kids. I have to share this. My ex-husband, the kid's dad, was an electronics engineer. He was a very, very intelligent man with absolutely no common sense. And for some insane reason, I was trying to put in a different kind of phone jack in an apartment. And I opened up the phone jack. And there in front of me were about 50 phone numbers. And for some insane reason, I called Jim and asked him what I should do. His response was to tell me that I couldn't possibly be looking at 50 phone wires. So I just quietly pushed them back in the wall, put the plate back on it, and gave up whatever idea it was that I had at that time. And thought, why did you do that? You know better than that. But it was like, I could forgive this man, and I can honor his intelligence, but I should know better than to ask him for help on something. And we do that. We can love the person. We love the spiritual being that is the truth of who they are. And we do not have to continue to have them in our lives. Some of us have family members that fit that same category. We may have been raised with them. We may think he's my brother, he's my son, he's my daughter. I should love him. I should want to be around him. But we can't. We can love them We can know that they are guided, guarded, and protected in everything they do, and we have to let them go and let them use their life. And we have to stand clear in our intention and our knowingness that the love of God is mine. The joy of God is my joy. The love of God is my love. The safety of God is my safety. And as I know my safety, I know that I was given a brain to use. And if I know that I am not safe, that I am not respected, that I am being belittled or treated adversely in any way, my responsibility is to also love myself enough to back out of the situation and to cut those ties in any way that I can. Still knowing that the spirit of that person is God expressing absolutely perfectly, and I allow them to do that, just not in my presence. And sometimes when we get into these holiday situations like Mother's Day and Christmas is a really good one to push people's buttons and to see, you know, what's going to show up when I walk into the room with Cousin Harold who cut off all my hair when I was 5 years old, or whatever they did. And you know, we have that going on. But we can still love that person and just not choose to be in the same room with Cousin Harold with a pair of scissors. But things happen. And today we are here to celebrate the knowing that love alone can overcome fear because love surrenders itself to the object of its adoration. The soul must make a complete surrender of itself to spirit. That is, the law must come under the subjection to the spirit. The will of spirit is peace, clear thinking, and happiness. It would have it no other way. The will of spirit is peace, clarity, and happiness. Remember that. If you're in a situation that is not peaceful, your brain is so muddled that you can't think, and you're anything but happy, this is not the will of God. The will of God is that you be peaceful, happy, and able to think clearly. And it may be necessary to remove yourself from that situation, or to at least go within and connect with the inner truth of who you are. I was listening to a CD by Ernest Holmes this morning on the way down, and he was talking about some days when he came home, he needed to take about an hour to get back into himself. And he said, you know what I've noticed? Is the only time I need to get back into myself is when I let myself get out of myself. In other words, when he let himself be pulled off center, when he let himself be pulled off focus, when he let himself forget his oneness with God and the love, the joy, the peace, the wisdom, the happiness that is God, that is spirit, he needed to take the time to sit in the silence and remind himself the truth of who he is. And that is the truth of who each one of us are. Love, joy, peace, wisdom, wholeness, abundance, clarity, creativity. One of the elements of the divine feminine is creativity. And one of the ways to tap into that essence of the divine feminine is to be creative. And to allow yourself to immerse yourself in creativity, however it looks for each one of you. For some of you, it's music. For some of you, it's computers. For some of you, it's writing. For some of you, it's painting. For some of you, it is gardening. I spent yesterday digging in the flower bed with my oldest daughter. And when I was laying down on the ground trying to get all those wild onions up out of the flower bed that hadn't been tended in 2 years, I thought, and this is connected with Mother Earth. That's good. But I'm getting awfully dirty. But it was fun to just be there and to dig into this and to just allow us to remove all the leaves and the weeds that had showed up, and just to be creative and just to connect with that divine energy of Mother Earth, and to connect with that creative energy of growth and beauty. And that's when we talk about Mother's Day, when we talk about the divine feminine. This is what in our teachings we are celebrating. It is wonderful for those of us who are still blessed to have a living parent. It is wonderful if we have children. But even if we don't have children, there are people who are close to us, who we have helped shape their lives, whether we know it or not. My mother has 2 kids, myself and my sister. My mother has probably touched at least 1,000 kids' lives at various points in time. I'm going home to Oklahoma the last week in June. She is being she turned 84 yesterday, and she still works with kids. She is being honored as the 4-H volunteer for her county for this year. She doesn't know that she's been nominated for the 4-H volunteer of the state this year. There are people that she meets every day that she has touched not only the parent's life, the child's life, and in some places even the grandchild's life. That people that she has been there for, to listen, to teach, and to just let them know that she cares who they are. She did a great job, I believe, raising her 2 daughters, but she has done a tremendous job in raising the city. She is an awesome lady. And all of us know people like that. People who have touched not only our lives, but many, many, many more lives, and have given of their time and of their talents and of who they are to be able to touch those lives. And those are the people we celebrate on this day, when we celebrate that love, peace, and joy, and creativity that is God in this moment and in every moment. So know that we celebrate each one of you, because you are all loving, nurturing people. And that's what today is, to celebrate the love who each one of us are. Let's take this into meditation. And just take a couple of deep breaths. And relax into this moment. And just take a moment and breathe in deeply, and know that as you breathe in that inhale, you're breathing in love. And as you exhale, you are exhaling anything unlike. We breathe in more love. And with each breath, we cleanse our body of anything less than love, until every fiber, every cell, every tissue of our being vibrates with love. body is so full of love that it cannot hold it, and it flows out from us and mingles with the love of the person sitting next to you and every person in this building. Until there is so much love in this room cannot contain it. And it flows out. And it fills this community. It fills this city. And it touches every place in this country where there is pain, where there is sorrow, when there is anything less than love. It fills that area with love too. And it crosses the oceans and the mountains. And it fills the Ukraine. And it fills Nigeria, Afghanistan. Every country, every city, every village, every blade of grass in this country, in this world, vibrant for love. Until Mother Earth is so full that it cannot hold the love. And it fills the Milky Way and all of everything. The things perceived and yet unperceived. The healing power of love flows through the air. We just allow it to grow and expand. New planets of love being birthed in this moment. We begin to come back into ourselves and feel that every fiber of our being vibrating with this deep, profound love. And I would now like to invite the practitioners to encircle the room, and we will do a prayer chain note of love for and as this community and for and as this world. And I know in this moment the power, the wisdom, the oneness, the wholeness that is God that is sweet, that breathes every breath and beats every heart. From the vastness of the cosmos to the tiniest atom, all is God, all is good in this moment. I feel this wholeness, and practitioners may pray also as I pray. And I feel it, and I know it, and I see it. And we know the oneness, we know the power that is God that is sweet, that fills this universe.
We're of this. We're in this world.
I know
We're not
the
of
one
this.
Spirit, I know Him.
I know that I am one.
As I know Steve, I know
Blessed.
under this
And I'm
community,
safe in its arms. And I
the
know
wholeness
that
of God is
and I claim everyone in this congregation.
and I know that right
Love
where
and power and safety and joy. Joy to be alive. Joy to live another day. Joy to be tethered today. This moment. Claim love, God. Claim happiness. Choose strength. We are all one. There's no separation. We are loved. We are loved. And I give thanks for that. Thanks to everyone here. For love is beautiful. And all. Jesus, my Lord, is well. Knowing it is good, knowing it is done. Done. All is God, all is good, all is well, and so is it.
And knowing it is good and knowing it is done. Gratitude and thanksgiving. I lovingly release these words to Spirit. So it is.
I can fly higher than an eagle.